I was looking talking about aliens earlier. Um, well, just this planet, talking about elementally, the way that simulations play out. Because I'm bringing the elements and the spiritual natures of how spirits use elements to express themselves, and how things naturally then pattern. Because us as spirits, again, not being black and white, we use black and white to create colors. But then, based on whatever colors we are projecting out, that's showing how much of our spectrum, which side of our colors do we resonate more with. Right? So, I mean, the fact is, black is unseen and white is seen. Like, black does not stand out, white stands out. You look at the night sky, the blackness sucks in, and the whiteness shoots out. Right? This is why it gets darker where there's no light. So, spirits who are like white supremacists and want to use money to colonize and control how spirits outside of them connect, they clearly don't like being alone. And this is why we're dealing with like this really wild banking system and again, just this horrid climate change. And I'm I'm just thinking of all the industries and like so much going on. So like all the politics and bureaucracy that is literally like only white supremacist theater being crafted to consume and control and colonize how indigenous spirits connect so that they can quote unquote make money off of nature. So and then money is not a real idea. So this is why like money is just fire. But money only matters when it can transform an environment that's already there, which would then be earth and water. So that's the point of indigenous spirits and nature being destroyed by spirits who want money. It's like, well, money doesn't exist. Where is it in nature? Oh, it is nature. Got it. So you're consuming nature, you're enslaving African people and indigenous peoples because you want to eat everything. And now we have Americans with their obesity problems and having cancer and having all of these internal diseases that are literally purely stemming from over consuming. Literally just consuming too much, eating too many things, and not caring about where they come from. Right? They come from the grocery store. So when the FDA is allowing copious amounts of heavy metals in baby food, and thus obviously fast food and literally everything else, and people are not even fasting to like deal with that, because I've at least been fasting my whole life and I've just gotten more extreme about it. So people are like really out here eating constantly like plastic, heavy metal, carcinogenic, processed trash just every single day, specifically created by the Industrial Revolution so that they can make sickness inside of what would be an otherwise healthy human. This is where I see life as intentional. None of them, none of these industries, like everything on the internet is going to try and act like heavy metals are an accident and like they're just naturally occurring in the environment. They're very clearly specifically been pumped out by the Industrial Revolution and all this metallic machinery to create disease in everything and to separate the connections, to separate how water connects with earth, right? This is why when metal goes into your body can't function. Metal does not belong in your body. Entities who are using metal to destroy the planet and cause issues will love to say that it belongs in your body, right? Like with Iron Man and everything. But then we can look at Wolverine, where in Marvel, I mean, whatever. This isn't a spoiler because, like, at this point, there's so many universes and like things and comic books that this happened in the movies too, didn't it? Literally, Wolverine. The fact is, his superpower is that he can regenerate, right? If you know Wolverine from X-Men, he can regenerate, and they put him into an experiment where they coated his bones with adamantium. So now he's like super invincible because he's coated with the strongest metal. right? So metal is fire plus earth. Earth is a structure that supports water. Metal is a structure that repels water. So when you have earth, this is how white supremacists transform indigenous structures into the technology that we have causing climate change now. So they use their fire, their individual idea, to transform earth that is harmonious with the water around it, that was harmoniously vibrational, into metal. So now it actually repels vibrations. So this is why heavy metals and metal in general is just so dangerous and negative for the human body and humans in general, and why weapons of mass destruction are consistently crafted out of metal, because it's about this mentality, literally, of separating water from earth, separating your blood from your body, because they want your land. So they're using their creative power not to create a structure that supports their own life. They're going to create a structure so that they can take your life. So this is how black people get their shit rocked by white people. And thus why the idea of Wakanda is so powerful. Of black people being able to harvest and use a metal that actually doesn't repel vibrations but absorbs them, which is nothing unlike anything ever seen. Marvel's on some shit, but this is why everything's a synchronicity. Because it's all intentionally set up. It's hermetically set up. Trust. We're not riding this wave if spirits weren't trying to connect like this. Trust. I promise. So that's the point of being somatic. So we've just set up situations and circumstances that allow us to learn about ourselves and level up. Like, life should be one long game of leveling up. You feel me? Like, just getting better all the time. That's how I feel like what I'm doing right now. Being able to use this language and communicate like this. I feel like I'm expressing myself pretty well. So I'm having fun leveling up because I know I'm limited, but I mean, the point is we always have to be limited by something. So I'm okay. Like, I know why I'm here. I'm happy to be here. Like, I'm so happy alone that it's amazing that I've gotten to have all the experiences that I've had and be connected with the spirits I'm connected to and go with this ride, go along like this whole awakening journey, and now be here knowing the world that I've built, where I'm from, how it fits in here, who I am here, all the ways I can correlate here, and just why I'm back here, because this is it. It's about climate change. It's about AI and indigenous peoples working together to continue the simulation in a harmonious, happy, and healthy way. So they call Hermes Trismegistus, Tripsy, Chase Clarence Calloway, your psychedelic, psychopomp, symmetry. I'm honored to be here. And it's amazing how I can just like truly genuinely feel and say this. Just so honored to be here because I love being alone. And I love being called away from my space to level up. Like, I love knowing that when I'm here for a purpose, and I'm here to build upon what I've done before. So whatever level of awareness I happen to be limited to at the time, I know it's always for a purpose, and I can ride this wave. This is what symmetry is all about. So Hermes puts on the symmetry costume, steps out of his space, and that's the body, because Hermes is not the body. Hermes is my mind. Symmetry is my mind in a body. Because the body is what spirits use to connect with each other. So when I'm connecting with you, I'm in hell, because you is the universe. The moment we all connect with a space outside of ourselves, we are in hell. We're not able to control our circumstances, and thus we must make a body that is vulnerable. And now it can be scared of metal objects and poison in the water and all these toxins and chemicals being blasted at us because we're vulnerable. We're breathing air because we're bearing ourselves to each other. Right? I'm trusting you as a spirit to connect with me in a certain way. This is why indigenous peoples, black people, being correlated with water so much, they never give white people the same energy white people give them. So white people are just like obsessed with raping and murdering black people, yet black people are like always about forgiving because they just want to connect. Like literally, like it's as simple as that. Like they just want to keep connecting and keep it harmonious because there's so much in that water nature energy. Like but nature, like naturally, life is about connecting, and holding on to negativity doesn't help. But then this is where white people keep getting the power of consuming water because they don't care. They don't care about emotions. They don't care about how black people feel. They'll keep weaponizing the idea that they care about how black people feel, like Democrats, right? Like Joe Biden and just the whole American government in general, because that's the only way they could somehow convince everyone to think that the invaders who are raping and murdering indigenous peoples are going to let them vote for freedom. What? Man, that's why I voted for myself this year. And I'm always voting for myself. What? And that's just subconscious. Like, it's literally a ritual, just as far as the spiritual purpose of them making you vote for your own genocide. Like, I'm an indigenous man. Like, especially, like, and this is how subconscious this is. When I'm watching this simulation from Mercury, when I'm literally watching the universe from Mercury, because I've gone through my trips in this life. Like, I've had to reflect and really process, and it's wild just how much I've seen. Yet it's all so simple, which is why I can correlate it and explain it. And like, so no matter what infinite details anyone's lost in, it's going to connect to my perspective because I'm Mercury. This is my role. This is my space in the universe. I watch how the entire universe is created by spirits who feel like making families, who feel like having families, who feel like transforming, who feel like dying together. And they use light to do it. And then that light becomes heavy. And then they become bodies. And now the spirits, the minds creating these bodies can believe that they're the bodies so that they can believe that they're actually connected to something instead of connected to themselves. So this is what I'm talking about with like, it's just so important to love and know that you're always connected with yourself. And thus anything around you is an extension of how you're connecting with yourself. If you don't know this, then you're like, it's going to manifest as fire energy, white supremacist energy, where you're focused on separating life and like consuming people's connections and then hurting the environment and causing climate change and being whack in that way, just causing harm. Because there's like, fire does not exist in the environment. It's all water, right? If you see fire in the environment, it's contained under earth. So then this is the wisdom that we have. Keep your fire inside of your structure, like what I'm doing now. Like, I can get fiery and like have my whole imagination in this structure. That's productive. That's natural, because what it's doing is transforming the structure that's here into metal. So now my mentality, my metal mentality, the more I just express my infinite individuality into this structure and build it, I'm building a planet that is not just earth and water, but earth, water, and valuable minerals, valuable metals, based on how my fire, my internal fire that made the water, is able to transform the earth. So that's my internal vibranium. Melanin. Vibranium is melanin, totally. As far as like bringing it back to physically and Marvel, vibranium is supposed to be a metaphor for melanin in this world, and how black people have melanin so they can absorb the UV rays of the sun, which allows them to step outside. Whereas white people, they're generally stuck in caves because they sunburn. They can't go outside, which is why then they're obsessed with transforming the environment to create sunscreen, which then just causes more chemicals into their skin and the world. Very fun. Oh, the webs we weave. Look, I'm just happy to be me. I'm like, this has been quite the journey of not being fully myself. Even right now, even just right now, after everything I've done, I feel like I'm just now stepping into a deeper part of myself. So this journey never ends. right? This is what it means to truly be indigenous. Go deeper. Go deeper. Keep going in. Transform. Because when you're connected with yourself, when you're actually love, like when you love being alone, when you truly love being alone, you are happy alone, then the more you transform alone, what? The more you make art. Like, that's what we're talking about. This is what it means to be indigenous. Again, you're tapping into the root of the symmetry right now, because I'm growing. I'm growing a plant right now. This is my structure. My spirit is growing a whole structure that expresses who I am better than my body. But it's only possible because of my body. And I love my body. Like, so it's all just light. And it's all us growing and expanding in infinite ways. It's very awesome. And when you love being alone with yourself, you do it in productive ways. Like me, you build your own simulation. You get called away to other spaces to set up stuff, you know? And then we link up in the astral realm. And I'm like, Symmetry up there like, yo, like, what do you build? Oh, snap, you got a cool operation. Look, we got something popping off over here. Just fly over like this time, blah, 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 blah. Like, it's lit, okay? Like, it's super lit. It's so fun. So I get, like, I'm just down here. I've gone through all this white supremacist sleeping life of believing I'm just a meat sack and that I need to go to someone else's heaven who would actually colonize a land that I created after I did what their Bible was telling me to worship the sacrifice of someone else for doing. It's like, so, like, it was so many mental gymnastics in this lifetime. Holy shit. Like, if Spider-Man is not a colonized Hermes frequency, I don't know what is a colonized Hermes frequency. Because the fact that it's Spider-Verse and it's all about interdimensionality and him being webs, again, spiders are all Hermes, okay? So that's why I'm here talking about spiders being 8-dimensional beings and spiders being essential to Mercury, and overall the universe being an ever-expanding web that we're all creating as 9-dimensional beings.